Greetings, my friends. Please consider supporting me in my war to save pop culture by subscribing to my channel and possibly even becoming a channel member for exclusive videos, access to Doomcock emojis, and more. And if you like this video in particular, please consider using the new Super Thanks feature and putting a tip in the tip jar located next to the like buttons down at the bottom of the video. Thank you for watching, and now, on to the video. Greetings, my friends. Disney is having a very, very bad time right now. Disney's stock is tanking. Disney's public approval ratings have taken a massive hit after revelations emerged that they are feeding children LGBTQ+ propaganda. Strategically, in Disney's programming, Hollywood spies have uncovered some very interesting information regarding how people are tuning out of Kenobi en masse in reaction to the latest episode, an episode that appears to have driven people to tune out in the middle of the show. There's a phrase that comes to mind in all of this, my friends: go woke, go broke. This is a lesson that Disney is still struggling to learn, but it appears that the marketplace and the fans are hell-bent on teaching them this lesson. Disney richly deserves the punishment it is receiving at the hands of the stock exchange and Disney Plus viewers. For too long, Disney has existed inside a bubble of delusion, forgetting that they are in the entertainment business. And to succeed in the entertainment business, you have to, entertain.
Judging from the incompetent trash clogging the arteries of Disney Plus, it's no wonder they're having a corporate coronary. Perhaps it's time to apply the shock paddles rectally. Rectal shock paddles, eh? That's a pretty good one-sentence review of Kenobi, Skull Calderon.
And a damn fine way to describe what's been happening to Disney stock recently. So let's begin there. To quote Dr. Smith on Lost in Space, oh, the pain, the pain. There's just no good way to spin this, folks. Disney is losing market value by leaps and bounds. Look at this. Right now, the stock is sitting around $94.38. No, wait. As I speak, I just saw the stock drop to $94.13. Kind of reminds me of the old Limbo song, How Low Can You Go? You want the definition of disaster, folks? How about losing over 12% of your company's value in just 5 days? In just 5 days, folks. Imagine waking up one morning and finding that over 12% of your money was gone from your bank account.
That's nothing compared to losing 99% of your body. Trust me, I know. But that said, you make a good point. Disney has lost billions due to wokeness, hubris, fan abuse, and good old-fashioned suck. The suck is strong with Disney. Woke creates it, makes it grow. I don't know anything about the stock market, so I can't say if this is all Disney's fault. But I can say it's very satisfying to watch their money spiral down the drain like the fanboy tears they love to mock.
Agreed. I'm no expert on the market either, but I do know that stock prices are supposed to go up, not down. Now, while I'm aware that the stock market in general is having a bad time at the moment, the rate of decline for Disney is a long-term trend, and while the overall bear market is having an impact on that decline, it seems naive to think that all the many negatives about Disney have not exacerbated that decline. With Disney's public approval hovering around a paltry 30%, with all the revelations about their not-at-all secret gay agenda, with the terrible shows they keep shoveling onto Disney Plus, the stock drop is not merely a market aberration. It is a reflection of a harsh reality that Disney is out of touch with its audience. It is no longer a loved and trusted brand, and this decline is only a taste of the bitter failures yet to come. Disney knows this, and I am told by my Hollywood spies that there is an emergency meeting happening at Disney today. And while my sources have yet to ascertain the specific reason for this meeting, I imagine it has something to do with their corporate profits going the way of the tiny old man. More on this story as it develops, but now we come to a fascinating piece of leaked information from a source inside Disney provided to me by my Hollywood spies, regarding the viewership drop-off on episode 4 of Kenobi. At this point, I want to say that the information I'm about to share with you is information provided by a source who claims to have knowledge of the situation inside Disney. But since I cannot independently verify this information, I must present it to you as mere rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt.
Commune with us, Doomcock. Share your wisdom. What happened with Kenobi? Yes, convey your collection of cult data, you cacophonous cretin.
Silence, Skull of Calderon, or I'll send you into the Justin Bieber dimension, where everyone is a believer. Everything is pinker than Pepto-Bismol, and there's nothing to watch on TV except My Pretty Pony.
Shutting up now. Pray continue.
As I was saying, my Hollywood spies have provided me with some fascinating figures.
You guys got to give me a little while. I got to brew up some coffee. Coffee.
The tots for episode 4 of Kenobi. For those of you who don't know, TOT or TOT is short for tune-out time. Disney and other streaming services track you as you watch their programming, and they pay particular attention to when you tune out of their episodes. This gives them some information regarding how well any particular show holds your attention, or if there's something objectionable in the show that makes people tune out. Well, my friends, there was indeed something objectionable in Kenobi's 4th episode, something that made a large part of the audience tune out at pretty much exactly the same point of the show. The point where 10-year-old Princess Leia is about to be tortured by Reva, the Inquisitor. Evidently, and who could have predicted this, audiences on what is supposed to be a wholesome, family-friendly streaming channel don't really like to see children abducted, abused, and tortured. Go figure. But yeah, when Disney showed Leia being interrogated by the amazing Reva, the bestest Inquisitor ever, they said, yeah, no more for me. And they stopped watching. They turned off, and they dropped out.
What the hell is wrong with Disney? What are they thinking? They sure don't seem to like kids much, do they? No wonder the overwhelming majority of the public disapproves of Disney now.
No wonder at all, Harvey. And as I was saying, wait a minute, oops. Disney's stock just dropped from $94.13 to $93.79 in the space of time that we're recording this video. It's dropping in real time, Harvey. This is amazing. As the market overall is recovering from yesterday's losses, Disney's stock is continuing to fall. It's a sobering reminder that over the past 6 months, Disney stock has lost 36.67% of its value. That's over a third of Disney's company value on the stock exchange. That's tens of billions of dollars of company value gone like a fart in the wind. And yet Disney continues to shovel substandard propaganda at kids, shows kids being interrogated in a Star Wars show, takes political sides, characterizes fans as racists and sexist if they dare to complain about the lousy shows they're getting with their entertainment dollars. And Disney wonders why it is hated.
Hated is a strong word, Doomcock, but not strong enough. I think loathed is a better one for a company that has lost over 36% of its value in the last 6 months. Where will they be in another 6 months, I ask you? Wishing their stock was still at $93.79, I imagine. I think they'll look back on June 14th, 2022 as the good old days.
Bingo, Harvey Cthulhu. It kind of reminds me of the scene in True Romance, where Christopher Walken punches Dennis Hopper in the nose and tells him, hurts, doesn't it? That ain't any kind of fun. But what I have to offer you, that's as good as it gets, and it won't ever get that good again. So as Disney holds its emergency meeting today, wondering how to stop the free fall of their stock and the massive decline in their popularity with the public, wondering why Galaxy's Edge and the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel are such failures, wondering why fans don't like having their legitimate criticism of Disney's substandard programming dismissed as racism, I hope that Disney executives will treasure this golden moment when Disney had only lost 36% of its value because that's as good as it gets, and it won't ever get that good again. Unless, of course, they get a clue. Stop pandering to the woke crowd on Twitter and stop sucking.
It's very easy to start sucking, but very hard to stop once you've started. Unless Disney purges their company of the whinging, whiny wankers of woke, worse matters will get.
And after all these years of abuse, condescension, and disappointment, I'm just fine with Disney suffering the consequences of their actions. And their stock just dropped to $93.49. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends. Oh, yes. Stay angry, but stop.
Commencing transmission. Engaging scramblers. Proxy chain initialized. And now, live from this hidden base of the Earth's core, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock.
Greetings, legionnaires, nemeses, villains, and future subjects. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth. I come before you today to review the disgrace that is The Last Jedi.
I know you must be very upset.
I am.
At the same time, you seem inexplicably calm. What's the deal? Have you already triggered a doomsday device that's going to blow the Earth up in an hour, settling your grievances with a civilization that dared to reject your genius and failed to bow down before you, even though you gave them every chance? So now they can burn, burn, burn in the fire of your wrath?
No, there's a reason for my calm, but that's not it. Though it may seem in the early part of this review that Doomcock is preternaturally calm, trust me, Doomcock is angry, my friends. But Doomcock is also committed to speaking truth, to power, and to all of you. I intend to present an honest critique of this film, to push down my anger for the time being, in order to be objective, logical, and analytical about not only the weaknesses, but the strengths as well of The Last Jedi. But trust me, the rage is coming. Originally, Doomcock had no plans to see this. Why? Because he knew that nothing good could possibly come out of the massive and epic fumble that was The Force Awakens, a film that simultaneously managed to blatantly rip off the original Star Wars movies in almost every imaginable way, and yet also managed to screw the whole thing up, despite it being, in structural terms, a virtual photocopy of the original film, with Frankensteinian parts cobbled together from other movies in the franchise. That's quite an impressive trick, really. You basically have the entire film laid out in front of you, and you still make the awful choice to turn the Luke ripoff character into an insufferable know-it-all Mary Sue, who completely undermines the whole hero's journey concept. How can a hero journey to greatness when that hero shows up at the door already covered in great? Lousy with great, chock full of great, raw stuffed with great, the bestest ever in every way. That's not a journey, that's a finale. What an idiot Jar Jar Abrams is, and what a sad and sorry little abomination The Force Awakens was, to turn an epic odyssey of self-discovery into a Pirates of the Caribbean ride, safely ushering the fans through a road adventure they've all seen before, with the pirates repainted different colors, bigger palm trees and alligators on the banks to fool the audience, in a bigger boat that for all its surface improvements is still carrying you down the same old river on the established and familiar guide rails beneath the illusion of a choppy surface. Essentially, I knew that The Last Jedi would be a failure, no matter what the creative team did, because the foundation it was built upon was rotten, cracked, and fatally flawed. A house divided cannot stand. Similarly, a sequel to a piece of garbage is going to come infested with flies. The failings of The Force Awakens are too numerous to repeat here. Countless essays, reviews, and videos have addressed that almost inconceivable failure, and so Doomcock will only address the most grievous failings here, as needed to illustrate the fundamental structural problems with The Last Jedi.
And what is the fundamental problem with The Last Jedi?
Star Wars is dead. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's a problem, all right. So, what killed it, do you think?
The Force Awakens was a mortal blow to Star Wars. They could have staunched the bleeding and possibly saved the patient with The Last Jedi if they had done it right. Granted, the patient wouldn't have ever been the same again. What with the limp, the lazy eye, the hunchback, and the colostomy bag.
Star Wars has a poop bag?
Had a poop bag. A big fat one, Harvey Cthulhu. A fat colostomy bag named Luke Skywalker. As idiotically filled with bottles, recycled ideas, and shallow cardboard characters as it was, the way The Force Awakens treated Luke Skywalker was the one thing that made TFA not worth a squirt of piss. And as The Last Jedi began, it limped in with that colostomy bag being dragged along behind it. You see, the botched operation had been done by Dr. Abrams, who removed something deep in the guts of Star Wars that the good doctor deemed unnecessary.
What was it he removed?
I think it was integrity. Some vital but subtle organ that held everything together in the franchise for 40 years. But since Dr. Jar Jar Abrams could never see anything that was more than skin deep, he figured anything that wasn't on the surface was optional. So he gutted the patient, sewed it up, gave it a new coat of paint and some lens flares, and called it good. So here is the patient, Star Wars, looking just fine, but staggering in established circles, being severely damaged by the removal of its guts. 2 years pass, and the grieving family is told that the languishing patient is just fine, and they've called in a consultant who will make the patient right as Ryan again, a specialist named Dr. Ryan Johnson. Sadly, by the end of The Last Jedi, it became clear to Doomcock that Dr. Johnson had failed to find a way to fix the botched surgery. It wasn't entirely his fault. The damage that quack Abrams had done was rather severe. No, Dr. Johnson hadn't fixed the patient. He'd simply given Star Wars a colostomy bag as it lumbered to its final steps. The Last Jedi represents the patient's last breath.
Holy crap. It's dead, Jim?
Oh, he'll be on life support. And they wheel it out every year for the holidays. But yeah, its soul has departed this realm. It is now but a hollow revenant. Doomcock knew this was the case going into the screening. So, you may ask, what compelled me to see this film? A disturbance in the Force, a split in the body of Star Wars fandom, a gulf on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb between the reviews of professional critics and the feedback of fans. I went into this viewing because I was getting so many requests from my YouTube subscribers asking me when I was going to review The Last Jedi. Doomcock felt obliged to heed their call.
Noblesse oblige?
Something like that. I went into this screening knowing that fans were conflicted, not only about the movie, but about the review process itself. When critics overwhelmingly approve of a movie and fans largely hate it, who can be trusted? There have been many allegations flying back and forth, accusations of Disney payoffs and fear tactics, rumors of anti-Disney bots flooding social media with phony bad reviews. Doomcock went to see this movie to gain clarity in this crisis of confidence. Clarity for himself and for his people. And indeed, Doomcock has found the clarity he sought. Last Jedi is a skillfully well-acted, technically brilliant disgrace. A film that took the dagger The Force Awakens had stabbed into the franchise's back and pushed it all the way home, piercing the heart of Star Wars and killing it off once and for all. It would be very easy for Doomcock to come here and slam this movie as utterly worthless dreck, but that would be a lie, and Doomcock never lies. Some of the criticisms of The Last Jedi are unjust and exaggerated. There are sections of the movie, scenes, images, performances of undeniable skill and beauty like the haunting shot of the sunken X-wing in the lagoon. But at the heart of this film is a hideous cancer that not only ruins The Last Jedi, but kills all hope of Star Wars ever being a unified and coherent franchise again.
I'm surprised you could be so objective. I thought you'd be ranting and raving by now. As big a Star Wars fan as you've been all your life, I can't believe you didn't burst into flames upon entering the theater like a vampire being dragged into church.
I will explain my composure later, but right now I'm going to begin by breaking this review into parts. First, I'm going to discuss the many specific plot problems with this movie. Then I'm going to address specific controversies that fans have mentioned in their posts. And then finally, I'm going to discuss the crap de la crap, the one objection that trumps all other objections, the thing that ultimately killed Star Wars. So, plot points. Just as with Star Trek Discovery, The Last Jedi has more plot holes than can be cataloged or comprehended by a human being in a single lifetime. The quantum computer deep thought in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy could compute endlessly for 10 billion years and not count them all, but the number would be way more than 42. There are hundreds, perhaps thousands, of posts on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb documenting these plot holes, so I'm going to address only the worst of them here and now. Plot hole number one, the entire plot of the movie.
Can the entire plot be a plot hole? Isn't it then just a hole?
That's a good point. But like a black hole that devours all light, a big enough plot hole completely swallows up the movie by making everything that happens after the plot hole meaningless and irrelevant. If that should happen right at the start of the movie, then what you're left with is one gigantic hole with uncountable little plot holes within it.
So The Last Jedi is Blackburn, Lancashire?
Yes, it is the Vatican of Star Wars movies, the holiest of holies. The biggest plot hole happens right at the start, the chase scene that goes on for almost the entire movie. So get this, kids, the Resistance Fleet, actually the government fleet, but we'll call them the Resistance Fleet, even though they haven't been rebels since the Empire fell, because we don't have anything else to call them. The Resistance Fleet is running away from the First Order fleet. The Resistance ships can stay just ahead of the First Order ships because they're smaller, see? And that means they're faster. You got me?
But wait a minute. In the one true Star Wars, Han Solo told Luke and Obi-Wan, I've outrun Imperial cruisers. Not the local bulk cruisers, mind you. I'm talking about the big Corellian ships now. The Millennium Falcon is small. The Imperial cruiser is large. Now, if that wasn't unusual, why would Han brag about it? If, as a general rule, small ships outrun large ships, wouldn't Obi-Wan have said, no duh? Tell me something I don't know.
No duh. Of course he would have. Throughout this entire ridiculous chase, the chase that is at the heart of pretty much everything that happens in this film, the lazy scriptwriters act as if these ships are on the open sea. Smaller ships are faster, I guess, because they have less wind resistance. They weigh less, so they float better. It makes no sense. Size would have nothing to do with anything. A larger ship has more mass, but it also has larger engines to compensate. Regardless, the premise is idiotic. The rebels just don't have enough fuel for hyperspace travel, so they run. They're fast enough to get outside the First Order's blaster range, but not fast enough to escape. So the chase is going to continue until the rebels run out of fuel. Now, there is so much double talk and silly-ass crap in this chase. For example, the First Order keeps hitting the nearest lagging ships. You can see the explosions detonating against the Resistance shields, but these blasts are, quote, too weak at that range, end quote, to do damage. Say what? Then why are they continually firing anyway? Are you trying to say that blasts that are hitting those shields are having zero effect? That they have no cumulative effect on those shields that are being bombarded for hours? And what's all this crap about range? These are not cannonballs that lose momentum and get dragged down into the briny depths by gravity. Har! These are destructive bursts of light energy, and light, as you know, tends to keep traveling in a line. What is the medium that's diluting them? Space is largely vacuum, so it's not like on Earth where particles in the path of a light beam scatter its photons and...
Dude, let it go. You can harp on this for hours. The more you look at it, the less sense it makes.
Like the space bombs. The stupid space bombs that fall through space onto their target below. Are the idiot writers unaware that there's no gravity in space? Released bombs would drift, not fall. But you're right, Hobby Cthulhu. Let's cut to the chase.
Very funny.
The big problem is this. Even accepting that the moronic conditions of this chase make some kind of sense, here's the crippling problem that turns the entire movie into one big plot hole. This chase only works if the ships involved in it are the only ships left in both fleets. In other words, it only works if the entire Resistance fleet is being chased by the entire First Order fleet. Why? One of the criticisms leveled against this movie is, why doesn't the First Order fleet do a short hyperspace jump ahead of the rebels, land in front of them, and intercept them that way? Between them, it is ridiculously slight. There isn't really much of a gap at all. So if the First Order did execute a hyperspace jump, flick the switch on and off even briefly, at 186,000 miles a second, they'd actually put way more distance between themselves and the Resistance fleet than they started with. You travel at light speed for 0.25 seconds, boom, you've jumped ahead of them all right, over 40,000 miles ahead of them.
Not very helpful.
Not helpful at all. So that criticism is invalid. However, there's a far better option available to the First Order. If the ships following the rebels are not the only First Order ships left, well, fuck-a-doodle-doo! How's about they radio for help and have more of their ships join the pursuit, jumping in front of the rebels? They do that. Now they've got ships in front of them, ships behind them. Hell, put out another couple of calls and you can have ships closing in on their sides in a pincher movement. Now that's only if there are more First Order ships, and there must be more First Order ships, because if this scraggly bunch of ships is all the forces available to both sides, then what is all the fuss about? Who cares? I've seen more RVs at a Hank Williams Jr. concert than I saw ships on that screen. This isn't a galactic struggle of good versus evil with just 60 ships. It's a goddamn Civil War reenactment.
And the sad part is, they actually stated at one point that, at least for the rebels, that was all that was left of their fleet.
True. I think I heard that too, but none of that matters. Unless they're down to their last ships too, the First Order would have ended that chase quickly. Without the chase, nothing else happens in the movie. Finn doesn't have the pointless side adventure with Rose that takes up a good 30 minutes of the movie for nothing. Luke doesn't project himself and die, and Leia doesn't do whatever the hell she did. So the movie wouldn't exist without this plot hole. Thus, the movie itself is swallowed up by one massive plot hole.
And the really screwed up part of it all is, within the opening of that chase sequence, there are a ton of smaller plot holes you didn't even get to mention yet.
It's a fractal of fuck. Like at the start, Poe just flies up to the big dreadnought, and the First Order just lets him approach. And they just sit there and listen while he prank calls them. I mean, they came to kill rebels, right? So there's a Resistance fighter. Why do they act all nonplussed? Why don't they shoot him without a single thought as he approaches, before he can even speak? If it's at all possible that a single X-Wing could skim their surface and take out all their guns, and this kind of shit happened decades ago on Death Star 1 and Death Star 2.
You mean the Death Stars that got taken out by small fighters skimming their surface? Those Death Stars?
You know, I think those are the very Death Stars I'm thinking of, Harvey Cthulhu. So yeah, if this kind of thing has happened before, wouldn't they maybe just be watching for that sort of thing again? You think? Especially after the bullshit Starkiller base got destroyed in a similar fashion?
All right. Frank Monday coming at you. To activate chat, please enable channels here. Ooh, I got kicked out of the chat. That means I'll have to open another window so I can see what's going on. Temple Talk Sunday, I can't close that one. What on earth happened? Good morning, guys. Welcome to Lunar Light Entertainment. I am Sir Francis Lunas Aristeas, frater of the Ordo Templi Astarte. I am a practitioner of Solomonic magic and a consort of the great goddess Astarte. Who will drink with me? Will drink with thee. Who will drink with me? I hope y'all good looking sex people are doing well out in Happy Land. Let me check the feedback loop on the transmission and see if we're any good this morning. Because you never know. The Karens over at BoobTube like to throttle me on the transmission. Yeah, looks good. Looks like we might be good to go. I'll keep this window open so that I can chat with you guys. But the restream has kicked my ability to chat. Let me see. Maybe I can still post chats. I don't know. Let me check it out. I got my cup of mud, so I'm ready to go. Hey, Miss Sandra Sue's out in Happy Land. Good to see you, Miss Sandra Sue. How are you? I hope you are well. Much love from Twilight Zone, old Peking, Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. Kisses. Hugs and kisses for Miss Sandra Sue and Miss Mary Moon. Bro hugs and handshakes for Monsieur Tiedrick and Simon 33. Truth, Goodness, and Beauty. Make sure you guys check out Simon. He's been working on some good stuff over at his channel. He dropped some videos over the weekend, I believe. So make sure you guys go over there, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs way up. Truth, Justice, and Beauty. Truth, Goodness, and Beauty, sorry. Sandra Sue likes to drink her mud with creamer. Not me, man. I like my coffee like I like my magic. Black. Yeah, so I got up early today and, well, not really. It's actually late already. It's already 6 a.m. But I logged on to the chat here because Monsieur Tiedrick was out there in Happy Land. He was looking for some live jive archive from the Lunar Light Entertainment Division. And so I decided to go ahead and give the people what they want, right? It's an entertainment channel. That means you have to be entertaining to some extent. We've make sure you check the banners down at the bottom. Never turn your back on the light, lest the Lord of the Netherworld send his minions after you. That's right. That's old Mo Wong, the Demon King. So watch out for him. We're just hanging out on BoobTube. We're showing a little nipple. Whoop! Don't let a nipple slip in there, right? So Miss Mary Moon says they've got a big Celtic festival coming up. Let's have a look at that. Jive archive from the Lunar Light Entertainment Division. And so I decided to go ahead and give the people what they want, right? It's an entertainment channel. Wow, that's way behind on loops there over at the BoobTube, so I'll just wait for everything to catch up. I'm currently on my third glass of Pinot Grigio, Pinot Grigio, Pinot Rosé. What kind of Pinot? Just straight Pinot. I have a wine cellar with hundreds of wines. Somebody has to drink them. Don't drink them all in one day, Jeff. Save some for me. Save some for me. A small show with only a handful of watchers can go viral, reach billions. It's funny, good enough. Yeah. Frank Monday channel will be resurrected. I believe so too, Jeff. I appreciate the vote of confidence. I love y'all good-looking sex people out in Happy Land, and we got to keep bringing the light, right? The lunar light. They deleted your comment over on the other platform, Jeff, so I can see it here. Jeff says he's on his third and last glass of Pinot, and he's going to open up the wine cellar for me when I come back to the States to visit. Drinking sparkly water. Mary says, We have a huge Celtic Fest every year this year, and this year I need to capitalize on the red hair. I was thinking Celtic knot keychains or something to mass produce and sell. Got 2 weeks to make stuff. Good deal, Miss Mary Moon. I would like to be your supplier here in the Central Kingdom. I could send you stuff. I could send you a bunch of these paper fans to sell. I could pick up a bunch of these, and you could sell paper fans at your swap meet. People like these. I like paper fans. I think other people like them too. So let's get an order of paper fans sent out to you, so you can make a little bling bling. You just got to send me your address. I don't even know how shipping works anymore, though. I don't know if the ordinary individuals are allowed to ship anything anymore. It's just the criminals in government. Nova Scotia has a tattoo. What does this say here? I can't even read this. It says Nova Scotia. I can't even keep up with the chat, man. They're blocking it for some reason. Anyway, just roll with the punches. Got to keep the show going no matter how much they interfere with it, right? As long as you guys can hear the transmission, I'll be okay. Can you guys hear me out in Happy Land? Give me a yo if you can hear me. I like to see them yos out in Happy Land. Come on, let's get some yos. All right. Yo, come on. Let's see them yos so I can make sure that I'm getting feedback. Most redheads don't realize that the energy they have and truly curse you and practice spells. I've seen it a lot of times with my friends and their ex-redhead wives and girlfriends. Stay away. Yeah, there are definitely some stereotypical situations with redheads, and that can happen. Yeah, okay, we got the yos coming in. Simon's got the yos. Yo, yo, yo. Keep the flow. That's right. Good job, Simon. We got the yos coming in from Sandra Sue. Sandra Sue out in Happy Land, Tennessee Valley. Good job with the yos, guys. All right. So what's been going on? Let me check it out. Doomcock was reporting on. What do you guys think about Doomcock's report about Disney? So Disney, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 4th episode that they released, Disney tracks when people tune out from the show. Like, so they know when you're watching and when you've maybe tune away. And so what happened is the 4th episode of Kenobi, they showed the bad guy, the bestest Inquisitor ever, the new black girl that plays the Inquisitor. Her name is Reba, I guess. And so she's torturing a 10-year-old Princess Leia in the 4th episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so, like, they said something like 75% of the people turned off the show when that happened, when she took a 10-year-old Princess Leia and started torturing her. So you may not know, but the criminals in those bad guys over in Hollywood and stuff, they like to get the adrenochrome from the children. So they'll catch young children and then they torture them, and then their blood fills with adrenaline and other nutrients and hormones and stuff, and then they'll kill the kid and then drink the blood of drink the children's blood in order to keep themselves looking young and youthful. And so that's called adrenochrome. You guys may have heard about that through Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's one movie that highlighted adrenochrome. If you watch the new, new to me, but not new at all, the new documentary, What on Earth Happened, the full documentary over at Sage of Quay Radio. It's an 8-hour episode, and it gathers together all of the best information on all of the lies and deceit from the bad guys in the world. He points out that the new NASA logo has a chevron in it that looks like a cursive T. So if you take NASA and then add the chevron to it, the T, what does that give you? That gives you an anagram. I believe that's an anagram. An anagram? Anagram. I think it's anagram. It gives you an anagram for what? That's right. You said it right. Saturn, Shaitan, right? So you get an anagram for Shaitan. And so those guys, you know how they like to torture children. I can't keep up with the chat entirely, guys, because there's a lot of good stuff going on out there in Happy Land. I remind you that the Frank Monday channel should be back on June 18th. That's 2 days from now. So think 48 hours from now. As long as the Karens over a boob tube can't keep a good nigga down. So let's hope that that'll happen, right? Yeah. So here's an interesting story out of the Tennessee Valley. Scam dollar bills laced with flakka. So let's get into some shoes, guys. NBC News is reporting they say don't pick up folded dollar bills because they may contain fentanyl. So watch out for that fentanyl, guys. That stuff is poison. It's put out there into society by the criminals in government, CIA, Cocaine Importation Agency, and the police systems themselves. So they're warning you up front that authorities in Tennessee are warning residents not to pick up discarded folded dollar bills because they may contain fentanyl. The Perry County Sheriff's Office said there were 2 incidents where a white powdery substance was found inside folded bills on the floor of a gas station. The powder was tested and came back positive for methamphetamine and fentanyl, the sheriff's office said. They point out that this is very dangerous. Our Tennessee folks, so Tennessee folks talk like this. This is very dangerous, folks. Please share and educate your children not to pick up the money, said Sheriff Nick Weems Sunday. I personally plan to push for legislation for a bill that would intensify the punishment if someone has a carrying pouch for such poison as fentanyl. It enrages me as a father and a sheriff that people worship the flakka zombies like Flakka Floyd, and that people can act so carelessly and have no regard for others' well-being, especially the children. So we need to watch out for them folks that follow that zombie cult leader, Flakka Floyd, who died in police custody a while back. And there was the BLM riots and burning down of the cities. And now they are spreading their death and poison from the West Coast to the East Coast, all over the great United States. So y'all be careful out there. And if you do find a dollar bill with some of that white powder in there, well, you be careful with that, and you turn that over to the police office. Shoot, holler. All right. Well, Weems said that the officer was looking for whoever was responsible for leaving the bills. He could not be reached for comment. The warning also came out of Giles County's sheriff office, which told people to be aware and be safe. The office, located about 80 miles out of Perry County, said that even a small amount of that old Flakka Floyd, George Floyd fentanyl is enough to kill anyone who comes in contact with it. So just touching it, even it can seep into your skin, and it can cause your heart to become erratic, and it is deadly. As we saw when old Flakka Floyd got into police custody, he died like a criminal. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 100 times stronger than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin. That means that morphine is 50 times stronger than heroin. No. Okay. That means that morphine is not as strong as heroin? Huh. I didn't know that. I would think morphine was just as strong. Powdered fentanyl is commonly mixed with heroin and methamphetamine, or meth ain't no friend of mine, and other drugs, and is extremely dangerous. The CDC said that more than 150 people die every day from overdoses related to fentanyl. And you also have to keep in mind that the fentanyl is flowing freely, even though the borders are shut down and the entire world is under global lockdown, the Chinese fentanyl just continues to flow wide open into the United States because Potato POTUS, Beijing Biden, refuses to deal with the border. He's got a girl like Camel Hair Ass in charge of the border, and they refuse to address that situation at the border. So fentanyl is flooding right out of the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon straight into the United States as a weaponized attack against the American people. You guys are under such a direct attack because your forefathers fought so hard to ensure a Bill of Rights and human freedoms and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. So you need to maintain that. Potato Head Joe came out the other day and he said the Bill of Rights isn't absolute. You're not guaranteed your First Amendment. You're not guaranteed a Second Amendment. He should be hung for high treason. Those are treasonous words. The oath for the presidential office is to swear allegiance to the U.S. Constitution and protect it against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Potato Head Joe, by saying that, has committed treason and is a traitor, and he's an enemy of the U.S. He's an enemy of the American people. So as long as you guys will tolerate for that old potato head to get on national television and say things like the Bill of Rights is not guaranteed, what? The U.S. Constitution is all about that. That's the only thing it stands for. That's a fucking job right now. Good God in heaven, what a nightmare of a demonic entity he is. He needs to be taken out into the courtyard and given the old Bastille Day treatment. There is no place in America for the likes of a person that, having sworn an oath to office, would discount the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That is intolerable. Absolutely 100% intolerable. And I heard him say it. I watched him say it. Second Amendment, no right is absolute. Man, that's so disgraceful. What an absolute nightmare that man is. Having a bad ship should be discovered a bit for an enemy. Biden is not. Yep, that's right. It's Obama. Obama is in control. He's the man behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Third illegal term of Obama. Yeah, sad, Jeff. I'm sorry to hear that. But wow, overdose on shrooms. That sounds like a party time, huh? That's one thing you don't want to mess around with, is getting in there with them shrooms. The thing is, guys, Flacca's making it into everything, so you got to watch your back. They're sprinkling it into your cannabis. They're sprinkling it into the coffee beans. They're sprinkling it into the tobacco. Fentanyl has turned out to be the most dangerous chemical globally, and it's getting sprinkled in everywhere. They're manufacturing it like they're over here in Twilight Zone, old Peking, like it's going out of style, man. Why do you think old Potato Head's son came over here and secured a $1 million deal in Twilight Zone, old Peking? It's for that simple fact right there that they allowed. They said, oh yeah, we're going to keep the Flacca flowing, baby. Don't you worry. We are going to decimate the American people, and we will get rid of that Second Amendment for you Chinese, so you can come over and so you can just march on in and take over. That's the plan, man. Don't let them tell you any different. Let's see what we got here. Yes, Obama is in charge. It's sad. Frank fell on, let me see what we got here. Frank, I fell recently and my knee is filled with fluid. I may need to head to the doctors to get the knee drained. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. That's interesting. Just the other day, me too, Jeff. I was out skateboarding with my son, and I took a big spill, man. I slammed. I was going as fast as I could on the skateboard. And I'm not a great skateboarder, but I've been skateboarding since I was a kid. And I was at top speed on my skateboard, and I made a little turn and hit like a an edge in the concrete that sent my board flying from out under my feet, right? And I took a Superman dive through the air and launched about 10 feet, 10 or so feet straight forward, just like Superman, and then slammed right on the concrete and also bashed my knee really hard. But luckily, it wasn't my first time slamming on a skateboard, so I know how to fall like the best of them. And I just went spread eagle straight through the air and then slammed at top speed right on the concrete. And when I hit the concrete, I hit so hard that it like rocked my spine and neck, and I thought I broke my neck. And I slid across the concrete as well and just kept going. And I was like, ooh, that hurt like a motherfucker. And I jumped right back up, grabbed my skateboard, and kept on going like nothing happened, man. But it hurt like a motherfucker. And so my leg, but I slammed good, and I slammed relaxed. So I didn't get hurt. I got hurt. I scratched my knee, and I had a bruise there. But I was able to take most of the damage without serious injury because I know how to slam. So yeah, I slammed as well, man. You be careful though. I'm a little bit your junior, I think. There, Monsieur Charlemagne. I think I'm a bit your junior, meaning I'm a little younger than you. A little bit.
Pointless incompetence becomes so utterly improbable that it becomes
backwards.
a plot hole.
Got that in
I think
ass
at the
backwards.
point right after the Last Jedi title scroll. I think right about that point.
You speak truly, O Eldritch One. And even worse, the whole First Order fleet is sitting there, doing nothing at all, while Poe zips around shooting out the Dreadnought's guns, and Leah's ship is just hanging around, doing nothing, along with a lot of other ships, just sitting there during that whole sequence both sides, because apparently nothing can happen until this Poe situation is resolved.
Oh, like they were waiting for the director to say action.
Evidently, the director rarely says action in this film, because there are lengthy sections where not a whole lot is going on. The slow motion chase takes up most of the picture. That part that isn't eaten up by Finn and Rose, going on a mission that is mostly boring and turns out to be of no consequence.
Wow, Captain Phasma gets killed by Finn on that mission, right?
As I said, boring and of no consequence. Phasma is a non-character who has a total of maybe 5 minutes in this entire film. And what, 10 minutes in The Force Awakens? Yeah, her death left a big gaping hole in the soul of Star Wars, and I think in each and every one of us in the audience. I'll never forget her shiny armor and I guess her, 15 lines in the whole trilogy?
Finn was an anonymous janitor stormtrooper to her, completely beneath her notice. So, of course...
Yeah, so Mary asks, what the heck is Flakka? Flakka is the street name for the synthetic opioid drug fentanyl. I'm not exactly sure of its chemical composition, but it's a synthetic opioid that mimics the effects of things like heroin and morphine. And the reports say that it's all being manufactured here in the Central Kingdom of the Dragon, and then it's exported to the United States, mostly through the porous border with Mexico and the US. And so they send it up in produce trucks and any type of shipping that's going on. So the big thing during the 2016 drive of the Patriots and Ultra MAGA was shutting down the border because so much is flooding in, and something like 100,000, 200,000 people a year are dying due to overdosing on this drug, Flakka, because it's making its way into everything. It's getting into the food, it's getting into the tobacco, it's getting into the cannabis, and they're poisoning America with this stuff. It's a strategic wartime tactic to import this stuff, and the potato heads and the Clickertons, the Killeries, and so on and so forth. They were amping up the Obummers they were amping up this importation of this most dangerous drug into the U.S. and sealing deals with the Nation of the Dragon. And when Mr. T came in with Ultra Maga, he shut it all down. And so that's why we went into a global lockdown, is so that they could get their supply chains back up and running and get the fentanyl flowing back into the U.S. and globally, and so on and so forth. So it's an extremely dangerous drug. I saw Jones on a YouTube channel the other day, Jeff, which was very interesting. He was singing his techno song, "They're Turning the Friggin' Frogs Gay," and he was on Nerdrotic with who? Salty Cracker and It's a Gundam and others. So he was on the Nerdrotic channel. I saw him do an hour-long video interview. Yeah, so I watched him, but no, I haven't watched him recently, Jeff. So that's to answer that question. I do remind you, this is the Lunar Light Entertainment. I am your host, Sir Francis Lunas Aristeas of the Ordo Templi Astarte. We are just doing a little update transmission this morning. It is 6:30 a.m. on the clock, which means we got about 20 minutes left for the show, guys. So thank you for tuning in today. It's good to see all of you. A little shout out to Simon33 out there in Happy Land. Make sure you guys get over there and show he's trying to build his channel and his viewership as well. Then Sandra Sue out there in Happy Land in the old valley. My future retirement home. Make sure you don't let all the bad guys run off with my stuff there, Sandra Sue. Miss Mary Moon is out there in New Scotland. So New Scotland is in the northeast quarter of the once great United States of America. It's just north of the border. So it's up there in Trudeau's territory, where they should be plotting and planning a good Bastille Day for the traitor to their nation, Trudeau. I think they're going to need some American-style liberation in the near future. We need to send some patriots up there to help them battle, and they could come up with a better flag. I think that Kanuki and maple leaf flag looks too communist to me. So I think you guys need to add some blue to it. You could keep the maple leaf, but then you could have a series of maybe blue and white stripes on the other side. You need to make your flag look a little more like Old Glory. That will help liberate you guys from the likes of Trudeau and his family. So he is a traitor to your people. Monsieur Tiedrich's out there in Happy Land. He's a big supporter of the channel, guys. He follows me there on buymeacoffee.com /Frank Monday. So if you have not checked me out on buymeacoffee.com /Frank Monday, I actually do some updates there. So you can check me out on Buy Me a Coffee. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so you can check me out on buymeacoffee.com. I write articles occasionally. Yesterday, I wrote an article and I posted it there. It's a little meandering through dreamland. So you guys make sure you can check that out if you want. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys, on your way out the door if you do decide to check out early. And come back later and comment on the video. I always have a hard time getting people to do this, but it shows interaction. What is that called? I forget the term they use. But anyways, if after the video is done, you wait for it to upload and wait for it to be available, and then come back later and check the channel and leave a comment, even if it's something silly, it doesn't matter. Say, "Oh, Frank Monday, I know you're full of shit." Just whatever you guys want to do, but make sure that you try to do that. Like, come back and comment, and yeah, spread the love. Mary once she was telling me that she had been spreading the love over at sea to sea, coast to coast, and getting people to tune in and check me out. I appreciate that, Mary. I feel that it can be dangerous, but I appreciate it and I encourage it. So if you guys ever do direct anyone towards my channel, thank you for that. That's a lot of love, and I do appreciate it. So if you find a particularly interesting video that we have, or a good conversation that we have here on live television, then make sure you tell a friend to tune in and that'll be fun.
Hated him with every fiber of her being.
That kind of passion burns with the white-hot light of 1,000 pixels. Yeah, it was a heaping plate of nothing. So let's move on to another film-devouring plot hole. This one so large it consumes both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
That's genius, Mary. That is definitely genius. Yeah, you could have a cat there. It's a good idea.
Right.
You could exchange the maple leaf for a cannabis leaf. I think that would be more attractive. And then just one color. I mean, red on a white background. It seems so boring.
This idea that Leia and her band are the Resistance. How can that small collection of ships be the entire Resistance fleet, given that the so-called Resistance was actually the government of the Galactic Republic? In actual fact, the First Order would be the Resistance, and Leia and pals would have been the government. This entire trilogy collapses when you consider how did the First Order completely overthrow the Galactic Republic government? By destroying a system in The Force Awakens with Star Killer Base? That's beyond absurd. That's positively brain dead. Consider that this is a galactic republic made up of thousands of worlds, judging by the size of the chambers in the prequels. The resources of this galactic republic are going to positively dwarf the resources of a defeated empire. Especially if that defeated empire spent a shitload of Nazi gold on a fucking Star Killer base that went boom. Boy, that's a real estate investment they'll never recoup. So somehow we're supposed to believe that this First Order somehow not only scraped up enough cash to build a gigantic planet-sized Star Killer base in secret, but that destroying the New Republic's home system and then getting their base blown up is going to turn the tables on the Galactic Republic government to such an extent that now the government is running away and calling itself the Resistance? Do you see how demented this idea is?
I do see how demented that is, Doomcock, and thank you for keeping us abreast. We are listening to, in the background, we're listening to Victor Van Doomcock, and he's reporting live from the center of the Earth at his secret base. He's the future ruler of the planet, and he's trying to win the war for the destruction of pop culture. He keeps us up to date on all the Disney and Star Wars action and the go woke and go broke type mentality. So you guys can keep up with Doomcock over at Overlord DVD. So if you don't want to say, name of his channel is Overlord DVD, and that is Victor Van Doomcock. Warning, this video is not intended for children. It contains adult humor and language and is designed to appeal to adults. Be advised that the advertising information is being gathered not by me, but by the hosting platform. The copyright on this is 2017. Dictor, his name is Dictor, not Victor. Dictor Van Doomcock. So I think if you do a search for Dictor Van Doomcock, yeah, he's a lot of fun. Dictor, like dictator, I guess, huh? Van Doomcock. And again, the key name there is Overlord DVD. So that's his channel name there. I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see it. Yeah, he's got a secret base at the middle of the Earth. So Dictor Van Doomcock and Harvey Cthulhu. He's hanging out with Harley Cthulhu. They're trademarks of the Dictor Van Doomcock show. All trademarks and copyrights associated with reviewed materials belong to their respective rights holders. No infringement is intended. Said material is being presented for review purposes in keeping with fair use principles. So he keeps an eye on the likes of Disney to make sure that they're not poisoning the well too much. because you know these criminals in government and corporation, man, they're working hand in hand with the technocrats and the oligarchs. Ooh, I found out there is a certain name. Let me see if you guys can figure it out. There is a certain name that you're not allowed to mention. And I discovered yesterday, I was online, I was chatting and leaving comments on people's videos and stuff, because I like to get on anybody's videos that I watch and make sure I leave a comment to show interaction. But I was mentioning the red shields. Do you guys know who the red shields are? And I discovered that included the red shield's actual name. Yeah, he's got two dicks in his name. Isn't that cute? Any comment I left that got that had the red shield name in it, do you know who they are? They're the private family. They're the family that own the 95% of all central banks worldwide. Their family is worth $500 trillion. And they always claim that Mr. Lone Scum, right, aka Elon Musk, they say that he's the wealthiest man in the world by no measure. There are two families, the Red Shields and one other, that own 99% of all wealth and land titles in the world. Do you know who they are? Do you guys know who the Red Shields are? Anyway, if you mention their actual name in a comment or a live chat, you'll get booted. I tried like 3 or 4 times to put different comments through that included the name Red Shield, right? And they all got deleted real time immediately. I kept trying. My YouTube app shut down. It booted me from it. I got back in. It gave me a warning right away. And it said, warning about your comments, you know, be careful of the community guidelines and so on and so forth. And then I looked it up, and it's actually in this documentary that I just mentioned to you guys. So if you don't know who the Red Shields are, make sure you check out this documentary, What on Earth Happened, full documentary, a full 8 hours. I'll check and tell you which hour it's at. Oh no, I already closed that window. Damn it. I'll have to open it back up again later. Anyway, it's probably about halfway through the documentary, but it mentions these people. So if you don't know who they are, definitely check it out. Guys, I'd like to re-update to make sure you check me out over at the FMRadio channel. It should be back up by Thursday. And so hopefully we'll be able to go over there and have fun too.
It's like if the city of Madison, Wisconsin destroyed Washington, D.C. with a nuke. Their only nuke, in fact, which is now obviously blown up. Okay, great. So would Madison, Wisconsin suddenly have resources dwarfing the U.S.'s military might? Hell no! We'd still have 49 states, bombers, subs, an armed populace, and nukes of our own. Instead of collapsing and allowing Madison to rule, the U.S. would marshal its considerable resources and crush Madison without a whole lot of effort. So this idea that between the two movies, between which 0 time passes, Ray is still handing Luke the lightsaber after all, the government goes from republic to resistance. This is the height of lunacy.
More ridiculous than a granny on a stripper pole at a NAMBLA convention.
You're pretty weird, Howdy Cthulhu.
Okay, you nailed
I'm
it.
just trying to get into your world, brother.
I'm sure all of you guys know, but Sandra Sue just came out right and nailed it. Yeah, so you have to be really careful with that one. It got all of my comments deleted real time, and then it got my app to actually shut down, and then my app wouldn't log back in for like 10 minutes. And then when I finally got logged back in, it started. It opened, my app opened with a warning that said, be careful of your comments, abide by the community guidelines, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, wait a good goddamn minute. Remember that, I almost said it. Let me hide that one and put up the next one. So Voltaire said that find out who you can't criticize and you will know who is in control. Yeah, so this comment, this quote is attributed to Voltaire. Obviously, we don't know what's true or false in history anymore, but make sure you guys check that out. That yeah, find out who you can't criticize, and you will know who's in control. So their family owns the Federal Reserve, which is the printing house for fiat currency, which is money totally based in illusion. So everyone always says, "Follow the money, follow. It's about the money." And I'm like, it took these guys exactly 100 years from 1918, when they launched their campaign of world domination, to 2018. It took them exactly 100 years to achieve 100% global domination. So those guys are pretty fucking smart, man. They figured that shit out. You've got quotes from them that are like, once I get control of the money supply, I don't care what puppet is representing the kingship or the presidency, whatever potato head you want. As long as I've got control of the money supply, then I own the world. Simon knows the score. He's got this to say. Yeah, still a good quote. And you're right about this, Mary. We don't know what's legit anymore. I like to think that a lot of the old Chinese documentations and writings, at least the poetry and stuff, and the Taoists, I think that their stuff is legit, but who knows for sure, right? I mean, it could all be recreated. We are learning that. But I tend to think that there's some indication of a historical record out there. It's just being obfuscated.
Like most things that are wrong with The Last Jedi, the blame for this idiocy can be laid at Jar Jar Abrams' feet, placed inside a large mystery box, and shoved right up his ass, that pickle-nosed hack. This political setup Rian Johnson inherited is nonsensical. A galactic government doesn't completely collapse and turn into a ragtag rebellion with the loss of one or two systems.
Okay, so the whole notion of the First Order rising from the ashes of the defeated Empire just because they used the Starkiller base once or twice is silly. What other plot points have you got?
Super Space Leia with Kung Force grip. Early in the movie, Leia gets blown out into space during an attack. You may not know this, Harvey, but 9 out of 10 doctors agree getting blown out into space is bad for your health.
I did not know that. Wild, crazy stuff.
Yes. So Leia passes out, as one is wont to do without air and without a spacesuit. And then somehow, while floating unconscious, she raises her arm and uses the Force to pull herself back into the ship, where she is rescued.
Sure she did.
Wink, wink. Yeah, she used the Force despite not being trained as a Jedi. Not.
All right, y'all. We've got Sun in Gemini still. So happy birthday to Tiny T out there in Happy Land. Sandra Sue, make sure you tell Tiny T that I said happy birthday to her. And the moon is in the second or third night, I think second night of the full moon, and it has entered into Capricorn. So we've got Sun in Gemini, Moon in Capricorn here in the Central Kingdom. I don't know if the moon has entered Capricorn for you guys yet. Monsieur Tiedrick says he's got a roll, y'all. So everybody, tip of the hat to you, Monsieur Tiedrick. Keep on keeping on. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep them yos coming in. Come on. Let's get them fucking yos out there in Happy Land. That'll keep the lead in your pencil. He says he'll be back in 20 minutes and to keep the show going. That may be a little longer than I can go, Jeff. But we'll see what we can do. It's already an hour and a quarter right now. And originally I had intended to tune in for about an hour. I've got a full day of online teaching today, so I need to make sure that I get that done as well. Channel updates, guys. This is Lunar Light Entertainment with your host, Sir Francis Lunas Aristeas of the Ordo Templi Astarte. And in the Temple of Astarte, I am the rank of Pastophorus, which also means neophyte. So that means I'm a first year candidate but I've been initiated into the temple. So what does that mean exactly? What does it mean to be a neophyte over at the Church of Hermetic Sciences? It means that you should understand your basics of Solomonic magic. So the Kabbalistic 4 elements of fire, water, air, and earth. So when you invoke the tetragrammaton, right, the shining trapezohedron, which is the pineal gland in the mind, then you should invoke from spirit above, right, Amahasheo, and then you bring it down into the body and illuminate the third eye, right, at the third eye center, and that is the Yud He Vav He, 4-letter name of God. Then you bring that energy down to the throat center of Da'ath, where the beautiful silver and purple throat flower of that chakra area blooms, right? But we don't invoke any god names there. You can invoke the Elohim, bring it on down to the Shaddai El Kai, and then all the way down to the bottom, Adonai Aharetz. And so make sure you guys check out my most popular video on the FMRadio channel. It's called The Middle Pillar. And I do a rendition of The Middle Pillar that I think is serviceable. I think it's serviceable. It's got a couple of flaws in it, right? But if you get online and you search The Middle Pillar here on YouTube, you'll find a lot of different people doing it. And mine is a mirror copy of Israel Regardie's material from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So I've got his Hermetic Golden Dawn up there from Llewellyn Publications. If you guys are interested in magical books and stuff like that, Llewellyn is a good source. I've been purchasing books from Llewellyn Publications since I was a boy. And so Donald Michael Craig, Donald Tyson, that's the guy's name. Let's see, Israel Regardie, so on and so forth. Franz Barden, Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, all of those Freemasonic orders, right? Those secret orders. The basic incantation is Lux Veritas, or the light equals truth. So never forget the great words of the beast. Love is the law, right? Love under will. I follow the pathways of magic. Some of you may know that Christ consciousness was all about the representation of the secret magic of Jesus the Christ, that he was one of the Magi class, and he wrote and understood in the language of the Magi, right? So this is a Proto-Hebrew, it's a Semitic language, right? But it includes it's a synthesis of Aramaic and Proto-Hebrew, right? So we, in the Hermetic tradition, Hermetic sciences, we use all of the ancient knowledge dating all the way back to the Sumerians and the Phoenicians, and we pull those traditions forward. And so our goddess Astarte is also represented by Isis and Hecate, Diana, and the goddess Venus. So those are all synthesis of the feminine energy, or what they call in Judaism, they call it the Shekinah, or the reflection of God's light. So it has a very feminine element to it, right? The luminary of the moon and the sun and the moon. So the tradition, the Hermetic tradition, does not admit any deviation in truth, right? Its path is as clear and as bright as the sun and the moon. And so when you see the Masonic representation of Boaz and Joaquin, the twin pillars with the checkerboard floor, this shows you the celestial vault of heaven, and that the sun and the moon are contained within the celestial vault. And so what does this mean? It means it's an oscillation between yin and yang principles, masculine and feminine. And by natural law, there are only two genders. There's man and there's woman, right? And so it's the oscillation of these twin forces and their interaction which brings about the immortal elixir. And so you redirect the orgasmic energy, the Oregon, the chi, down from the lower infernal realms, right? The great shit mountain of Golgotha where Christ was sacrificed, and you rebirth him up the spine, the 33 steps of Jacob's ladder, back up to the celestial palace. And then it transforms, it swirls at the 100 meeting point and interacts with cosmic forces, with the great dragon in the sky, Draco, and I won't give away too many secrets about that stuff going on up there. But then there's actually a hole in the top of the skull at the palate of the mouth. There's a small pore there that opens up, and the elixir drips into the mouth, and then you swallow it down, and it fortifies your being. You swallow it down to your center Dantian, which on the tree of life is it's the Dantian of the sun, right? Amun Ra, the great sun god, that luminary in the sky, is a direct representation of that powerful masculine energy. And so you're uniting the celestial and infernal spheres in the realm of man. And what that means is that you have to balance the internal the five solid organs and the 6 hollow organs, and you circulate all that chi and Oregon energy within the body, and it expresses itself as golden light through compassion for your fellow man, right? Through forgiveness and loving nature. And so in the tradition of the Temple of Astarte, we place Raphael at the center Dantian. Some people place Michael when you have to get into battle, right? So if you're throwing them yos and you got to fight those bad guys, sometimes you might want to put Michael at the center Dantian. But you've got 3 Dantians, and each Dantian, each elixir field, has a holy guardian angel. There are 3 holy guardian angels in our tradition. There's the little daemonic one, right? Kako daemonical, daemoniacal, Kako daemoniacal. The little demon down there with the worm, and he's always trying to stir you up and get you in trouble in the material sphere. And then there's, right, in the sphere of humanity, in the realm of man. And here, or Gabriel, or Christ. Many put their Christ consciousness, they embrace Jesus with their heart. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you need to be wary of those who engage in idolatry, right? There are many people that promote JC as an idol, and you should not embrace the Christ consciousness as a form of idolatry. You need to be very careful of that, right? They say, do you believe, right? You must believe. And I say, no, you don't. You're doing it wrong. That's not the way. You're not supposed to idolize. Anyway, to each his own. At the upper Dantian, though, that's where the mystery lies. I cannot tell you of the one who dwells in the celestial realm, and I should not engage in direct pointing. Those are truths that you have to figure out on your own. But I can tell you the lower gates. I can tell you about the low stuff. Yeah, Jordan Peterson's the man. He told me about the sun god. Jordan is the man. All right. Autumn. God bless him. Autumn, the great beetle-faced god of the night, right, who dwells in silence. That is Autumn. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Any pantheon you want to use to represent it, they're all the same great immortals spinning around the throne of God in the sky. So, however you like to frame it. I go with the Tetragrammaton myself. It's the representation I like. But when I enter into the spiritual realms and I'm floating around in the fathomless cavern, you know what turns out? It doesn't matter what you believe, because the truth is there and it all appears before you. And it doesn't matter what you believe, man. You can believe in it if you want. That's fine and dandy. If you don't believe in it, chances are you're going to end up in the eighth sphere, right? The realm of Ahriman, where it's basically like a dark swirling toilet and you're going to get flushed out of the universe. But as long as you have a pure and simple heart, then the truth, you awaken to truth. Truths are the laws of love. That's right. You guys know what's going on. Love is the law. Love under will. Yeah, no idolatry, and no megalomania either. You got to watch out for megalomania. Yeah, hell, the sun god. That's right. But you also have to honor the creator who put all of that in motion, right? The UEUs tried to get everyone to buy into it as goyim. They want the golems on their knees, groveling and begging for handouts. When Mary, yeah, you're hitting closer to the truth, but that's not the ultimate truth either, right? The ultimate truth is beyond dichotomy of the intellectual realm, and thus it means you must experience it directly. It cannot be transmitted from man to man or woman to woman through words. It has to be transmitted through the practice of the Great Way. And here's the great thing about the Great Way, guys. You're doing it no matter what. You're evolving through many lifetimes, and you're developing the elevation of your spirit. As long as you do good, do no evil, right? Do no harm to other men and stuff, to know, to dare, and to be silent. And every breath you take integrates heaven and earth and connects you with the one great reality to be put into words. As soon as you start putting it into words, you create a kind of dogma. But if I've got one dogma, it is this: we are spiritual beings living in a physical reality. We penetrate from a world beyond. And so we get back into the Socratic preforms, we get into the invisible spiritual and all of that stuff. And if you go too far without being initiated, then you're just engaging in a kind of intellectual dichotomy. And then you chop it up, So it's better just to keep it secret and practice it and express love. Yes, life bringer with love. That's right. Express love to others, tolerate them, but also go to battle. Occasionally, you're going to have to fight against some of these demons, right? And you can't get pushed around, and you can't keep yourself in poverty. You need to rise above. You need to create a tradition. You need to pass that tradition on to your descendants. There are definitely things that need to be done. There is the great work. The great work is, before all things, the creation of individuals by themselves. It is overcoming fate and karma and all of those lower level things that are not on the path of the Magi. You need to get involved in your great work. There is work to be done, and part of that work is self-salvation, the salvation of your family, right? Fighting the good fight, getting involved with the community, keeping your nose to the grindstone, pumping out them yos in Happy Land, right? Every time you can, tune into the channel, keep the updates. Let's see, it's obvious to me it's much deeper than the sun and the moon. As an astrologer, our natal charts are 100% unique and include all luminaries and their relations and aspects. Yes, indeed. I know Miss Mary Moon, and you know a lot more about astrotheology and astrology than I do. I'm a beginner. I'm a kindergartner when it comes to that stuff. I've spent the last 30 years investigating natural magic, and one of the confines of the old systems of magic, especially those that were passed down to us through the Solomonic tradition, is very close adherence to astrological alignments. And I always found that cumbersome. And so that's why I kind of abandoned it, because it's too much bookkeeping, right? You got to look into charts. And I used the natural path of connecting with esoteric Taoism and using the Dantians. And I found out that they also have a great deal of mathematical study and astrological charts in order to really get good at it. But as a Pisces, I'm an intuitive. And so I developed my magical systems based mostly on genuine day-to-day cultivation. So I've been out there in the yard for the last, well, I started Kung Fu when I was, 6 or 7 years old, but I've basically practiced every day since I was a child. Every day. The chi of Tao is luminous and bright, just like the sun and the moon. Play with it night and day and never throw it away, lest the Demon King send his minions after you. And so a lot of people sit down and they talk about it and they study it, but I get out there and I do it, right? I practice it every day through gentle cultivation of the chi. In and out. And you do it, you don't have to learn anything and you still do it. Every breath integrates heaven and man. Earth, heaven and earth and man are integrated with every single life-giving breath, right? And that's why I occasionally like to fire up a little J.P. Farrell to pay homage to Aries or Mars, that great fiery luminary in the sky who wanders about and plays with his beloved wife, Venus. And their son, Mercury, or Hermes Trismegistus. Let's see, I'll try to catch up with the chat, guys. Let's play some Dictor Van
Being
Doomcock.
conscious and not being
And I'll catch
Mighty
up with the chat.
Spock, who is well known for traveling through space with the Force.
Maybe Leah had some mushrooms in her pocket, a few spores stashed in her bra, or maybe she was a Vulcan all along and can use the Force as good as anyone on Star Trek Discovery.
It's possible. Used to be you had to train a long time to use the Force, but now, hey, Rey is using the Force like a master. Leah can do her one better and use it while unconscious. Apparently in Star Wars, training is now optional, and this movie just adds on new Force powers whenever it's convenient for the plot. Kylo and Rey communicate across light years using the Force like Mighty Spock. Snoke can read people's minds like a phone psychic. Leia can use the Force while completely unconscious like hell she can. And Luke can now teleport himself physically across.
Thanks for the amen there, Sandra Sue. Amen to you. Amen, brother. Preach on.
Light year ahead, hand her hands dice that he treasured so much we never saw them before, and do battle with the First Order and Kylo Ben.
Wait a minute. I thought Luke was just projecting his image to help the rebels, not his actual body.
Well, he did touch Leia, kiss her on the forehead, and hand her the dice.
But the dice later vanished into thin air.
Ah, but they were there in her hands for a while, Harvey.
Then why didn't the massive walker attack on him phase him at all? He would have been blasted to hell if he was actually there.
Ah, but if he wasn't there, then why did he brush stuff off his shoulder after they attacked him? Because that would be an unspeakably stupid attempt at humor if he wasn't actually there, Harvey.
Oh, shit. So he wasn't there?
Oh, he was there all right. Until he wasn't. Mysterious are the ways of the Force these days.
But all its secrets can be yours for just $9.95. Come on down to Walt Disney's used Force lot. Never used the Force before? Think Obi-Wan Kenobi is something you eat with sushi? Want to use a Force power that doesn't exist? No problem. We don't care. Buy your ticket. Watch an introductory video where a fake Luke Skywalker refuses to talk about the Force for 15 minutes and boom, you're using the Force like a master. It worked for me. Me too. It's logical. So what are you waiting for? Don't like how the Force actually works? Wish the Force could make you fly and do your laundry? We'll make it do anything you want. It slices, it dices, it gets riders out of corners they've written themselves into. Act now and we'll throw in at no extra charge a boring sequence with Finn and Rose that will make time pass so slowly you'll feel immortal. Eternal life for just $9.95. Act now, even though Disney has an unlimited supply of bullshit. Jeez, I'm surprised you're still with us, Dictor. How did your head not explode like a Christmas ham stuffed with firecrackers, Coke cans, and Pop Rocks?
How? Because Star Trek Discovery made me strong. Star Trek Discovery is a goddamned unholy disgrace and an abomination beyond all imagining. Everything about it is repugnant and moronic. The Last Jedi is an insult to all Star Wars fans that seals the fate of the entire franchise. But Star Trek Discovery is an insult not merely to Star Trek fans or even to humanity, but to the very notion of rational thought, yea, even unto cognition itself. If the universe is comprised of one unified consciousness, as some believe, then Star Trek Discovery is the first genuine sign of cosmic Alzheimer's. Doomcock has survived, thus far, 7 doses of Star Trek Discovery. I thought that The Last Jedi would wound me deeply, but compared to Star Trek Discovery, it barely touched me.
So, you're more a Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan?
Not at all. It's a combination of things. I saw that Star Wars was clearly dead immediately after The Force Awakens. I've had 2 years to live with that.
Star Wars was dead immediately after The Force Awakens. Yes, I do love my rants, Miss Mary Moon. You are correct about that. Yes, Two Dick Guy is speaking. That's right, Simon. Two Dick Guy is getting it done. Double Dick, Dictor Van Doomcock. I'm going to give you guys a quick reading from Master Ni Hua Ching before I sign off for today. Make sure you guys tell Jeff I said hello if you see him out there in Happy Land again. When I was a boy, 13. 13 is when I joined the Kung Fu school. My brother made me enroll because he was tired of me getting my ass kicked. So he made me enroll in a Kung Fu class with him of Chinese internal Kung Fu. We learned Xingyi, Bagua, and Taiji Chuan. And I was introduced to Master Ni's writings back then. I saw these books from 7 Star Communications, Master Ni Hua Ching, and I fell in love with this picture. And I thought, this is the guy I want to study with, this old Master Ni Hua Ching. And so I spent from the age of 13 to about 17 or 18 studying his books, reading all of them. And I read all of his books and read them religiously, day and night. Master Ni Hua Ching is a fully acknowledged and empowered as a true master of Tao. He is heir to the wisdom transmitted through an unbroken succession of 74 generations of Taoist masters from 216 BC. So we've got a tradition dating back to 200 years prior to Christ. Actually, it goes all the way back to Lao Tzu, of course. But Master Ni can trace his family lineage with documents and relics and stuff 74 generations back. And I worked so hard. I went to all this guy's public talks. I solicited him, and I eventually came to be his apprentice and live with him in his home to give him his haircuts, his back rubs, make his meals, sweep the floor. I was Daniel's son to Mr. Miyagi, Master Ni Hua Ching. I worked on the editing of the books. I followed him around to all of his public talks and recorded the audio, worked on processing the audio. And my intention was to become a doctor of Oriental medicine. But anyway, I changed paths once I met with the master. He told me it wasn't the path for me. So according to his system, they also use astrology. And he says that each person's birth chart always shows the direction suitable for his or her development. Some aspects are impossible to achieve. Some are possible only with a struggle. He said that the China path would be the most difficult for me. He set 5 different paths before me. He said there are always 5 options to you, 5 options available to you while you're young and in your formative stages. So I lived with him from 21 to 23 years old during my college education. And he said that the China path would be the most difficult. And he said the woman I married would be extremely mouthy. He said, don't ever forget. He told me a key date in my birth chart. And it's getting really, really close now. So he said, Let your children continue the world, continue the universe, continue nature. A person needs to have the courage to do what is appropriate for themselves. If society is too difficult for you and you do not have an opportunity to find the right person, but you reluctantly enter a relationship anyway, you will not find the sweet fruit of life. Marriage or friendship needs to be a partnership. What kind of partner do you have? If you do not have a partner and you are a sexy or romantic person, you will always apply your sexy or romantic urge in the wrong direction and cause yourself trouble. This will not bring you happiness. So it is helpful to study about one's own life and to see what the possibilities and opportunities there are. Basically, philosophically, if there is a chance, then get married and find a partner, because that's the real path of Tao for the average individual. It's through marriage and learning the way of the opposite sex that we arrive at the completion of yin and yang. Not everyone needs to do it, though. Some people like to stay celibate and aesthetic, or maybe individually sexy. But the path of Tao, the natural path, is of man and woman, and marriage can only be between a man and a woman, according to the path of Tao, right? So if not, then don't do it. That is wise also, right? I would like to tell you something about the Taoist way, but you are too young for me to talk about it. It's a high secret for older people, and young people who wish to achieve spiritual immortality must be careful. I have heard of the immortals and that they have sexual intercourse with people when they come back to the world. Why would they do that? Master Ni says, no, I do not think they would. Maybe there is an unfinished relationship from a past life, or someone cheating, some untruthful spiritual teaching or teachers, but that is not the way of Tao, and that does not happen in the path of Tao. Once you achieve spiritual immortality, you are no longer sexualized. There are a lot of fake gurus in the traditions out there, the Hindu and the esoteric Buddhist traditions. Generally speaking, our path of Tao is not like theirs. There are lots of knowledge involved, and there are Taoist secrets of sex and sexual magic and alchemy, no doubt. But that is a kind of special technique, a special stage that needs help. A person can be helpful subtly, too. We say that a man after 60, or one whose sexual energy is already low, cannot produce semen. Without semen, how can he do the Taoist immortal cultivation? There is nothing to refine. The first step in Taoist internal alchemy is the refinement of the semen. So, guys, I don't want to go too far down that path, but that is Nurture Your Spirits with Master Ni Hua Qing. And so definitely check him out if you're interested. It's the path I follow and the path I advocate. That, along with Solomonic magic to protect yourself and have psychic self-defense. Yeah, gender bending is not the way of Tao, but you can go against nature. You just won't last long. That's okay too. But yeah, they need to balance themselves. So a more masculine woman can find a more effeminate man, right? But the essential natural path of Tao is man and woman. It doesn't allow for things like man and woman relationships. It's okay. It's not too directly antithetical to the natural teaching. I mean, there are certain special circumstances in every individual. Generally speaking, men should be men and women should be women. Most men are about 70% testosterone production with 30% estrogen. And then women are the opposite. They're 70% estrogen hormone based with a 30% testosterone. But if there are chemical imbalances in the body, and a man overproduces estrogen or a woman overproduces testosterone, then they can find and integrate their unique situation. But it's very low in the general population, or at least it should be in a natural society. We're talking like 0.0001% actually have that situation. So why should it be promoted as the general rule when it's such a very low percentage, right? For the general rule, it's man and woman is the basic alignment. So if there is a special circumstance like that, then the teaching can address it individually. But for the general rule in society, if you do that in society and you try to create that as a mass marketing scheme of rainbow flags and unicorns, then you go against the natural order, and I can't support that. Not me personally. I mean, you can do whatever you do, you right, and I'll do me, and I'm entitled to my opinion, and I have a right to express it, and so I follow the natural path of Tao. And I'm not pushing anything on anyone, man. I'm just the path of Tao doesn't want you to study it, right? Master Ni always said, he said, those who study Tao are few and far between, and thus we are elevated. But you gently guide people. That's why I say you should never idolize and make idolatry out of Jesus. And so many people are guilty of that, right? They try to push the teachings of they try to push their teachings on others. I'm gently trying to lure you towards it, right? Poke you a little bit in the ass and stimulate you. But no, people that study Tao are attracted to Tao. There are two paths. Okay, so you may know of this Native American Indian tradition of teaching, the powwows. I was at a powwow one time, actually in the Tennessee River Valley. I went to a powwow and I was puffing on my smokes and smoking a gang of weed. And I met with an Indian elder, and he told me that reiterated timeless story of the two paths. He said there's the wolf and the phoenix. And I was there and I had my braid on and I had a leather vest, and I was carrying a tomahawk and puffing on the peace pipe, and, just full on cultural appropriation with a pure, genuine, sincere heart. And I approached one of the elders and I said, this old Chinese guy with a tradition of 74 generations, he told me that there's a good chance that I'm the reincarnated spirit of a Native American Indian. He said, because when a foreign people come into an area and conquer and kill the locals, like the Native American Indians, he said that those spirits that are murdered, especially the ones that are murdered young, immediately will reincarnate through the children of the conquerors. So you go in and you conquer a nation, all of your children being born are the recycled spirits of the people you just conquered. And I said, that would mean that there's a good chance that I'm actually a Native American spirit manifesting in a cis white male. And he said, wow, I'd never thought of that. And he said, there's a good chance of it. The Great Spirit agrees. He said, so let me tell you, young Redface, right? He said that there are two basic paths. There's the style of management of the wolf and the style of management of the phoenix or the eagle. The wolf goes around and enforces order through savage means of top-down domination and tyranny, right? The wolf is a bit of a dictator. Oh, and then this is just an analogy. The wolf's nature is not really like that. But it enforces order through barking at the other wolves, right? Ruff, 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 and a big show of force, right? And it enforces order through force. He said, that's not your path. Your path is that of the phoenix. I can see you in all your glory. The phoenix cultivates its own path. It's a solitary eagle, flies by itself, and it just refines its own game. Like, the posture of the phoenix that you're practicing, Simon. And all of the other birds in the sky and all of the other creatures look up to it. And they want to improve their own lives because they see a good example of what you can achieve, right? Like the hermit card in the tarot, that you can do better, you can improve your life, you can achieve more by striving on your own independently. And so the phoenix is the path of, you do whatever, you do you, I'm going to do me. And then people become attracted to that because they see what you can achieve, right? So I've always followed the path of the phoenix. I do my own thing. I get out there and I do my kung fu every day. And I come here and join you in Happy Land just so that I can connect with community Frank, do you call yourself cis something? No, this is new language to me, Miss Mary Moon, and I don't know if I'm using it correctly. But from what I heard, I hear people say it. They say you're a. I went back to California in 2019 and tried to find a job, and they denied me a job because they said that I was a cis white male. And so I don't know what that meant, but then I looked it up, and supposedly it means that you identify with the gender that you're born into. So the fact that I'm born a man and I got a cock and balls, then I identify with that gender. So that makes me cis, which is a pejorative. It means it's a bad thing, right? So I think it's funny. So I make fun of them by calling myself a cis white male. And then white is a political term. It doesn't really mean anything because I'm actually Caucasian and I'm a German Irish Jew. But the spirit inside of my body turns out is Native American Indian, but has also manifested in the central kingdom of the celestial dragon. So I'm also a Taoist magician. But then I also have manifested back in the time of Solomon and worked in the Temple of Solomon in the court as a magi. And so I've been a neophyte in the magical tradition throughout many lifetimes. But then my spirit also goes all the way back to Atlantis and Lemuria and beyond, all the way back to Mu and even before Mu, right? In the great Yog-Sothoth cycle of Cthulhu. And so I may even be just the imagination of great Cthulhu asleep in Relie. So these identifying things, they're irrelevant, they're human hallucinations. But in this given lifetime, I'm working towards the integration of Tao in my life. And with that, I follow the normal path, the natural path, getting married, having children, raising my children to be normal, right? To find husbands and wives of their own and to continue the bloodline and to have children and so on and so forth. So that's the way it works, and I'm sticking with it. Let me try to catch up with the chat. Let's listen to some Dictor Van Doomcock in the background.
Hey guys, Harvey Cthulhu here. Please subscribe to Doomcock. Help him in his struggle to save pop culture. We need your support, and we thank you for it.
Our pop culture is under assault by corporations who would rather destroy our cultural heritage than build respectfully upon it. As more and more of our treasured modern myths are revised and rebooted beyond our recognition, debates are springing up everywhere, centered around one question: what is canon? Who decides what canon is, and why does it matter? To decisively address these questions, in light of recent confessions by Bob Iger regarding the discarding of George Lucas's completed story treatments for the Disney sequel trilogy, Doomcock has revised his previous 3 laws of canon to incorporate a 4th law specifically addressing this previously unthinkable situation, and a 5th law that recognizes the right of the fandom to embrace the unorthodoxy of genius. Hear you now, Doomcock's 5 laws of canon. Canon is chronological. Anything that contradicts a previously established fact is not canon. It's that simple. Whatever was established by the original creator of the universe in question is canon, and anything subsequently created that violates the previously established facts of that universe is not canon. Let's examine what this means in concrete terms. Gene Roddenberry created the Star Trek universe. He did not do it alone. In actual creative terms, I consider Gene L. Kuhn, D.C. Fontana, and Robert Justman to be as creatively important as Roddenberry, if not more so. Yet all of their contributions to Star Trek were under Roddenberry's supervision and ultimate authority, and therefore, for moral purposes, I consider Roddenberry to be the creator of Star Trek. In a similar way, I consider George Lucas to be the creator of Star Wars, but let's stick with Star Trek for now. Canon is historical fact. Pop culture, for better or worse, represents our common lingua franca. These stories serve as cultural anchors that steady us, a mythology that we as a community share, reference points that bind us together. One need only say, peace, live long and prosper, to gain a smile from a brother or sister. One need only utter, may the force be with you, to elicit solemn nods from those in the room who are of our tribe. So say we all. Utter those words, and those in the know will get a gleam in their eyes, remembering Adama's heroic stand to save humanity. These are the stories that traditionally got passed down from generation to generation as tales of old around a campfire. As such, they matter. Yep.
Yes, they do matter. Our tales of old matter, guys. I'm going to remind you guys to make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out and sub the channel if you haven't already, if you enjoy it. And check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, where you can show your support if you appreciate doing that type of thing. I certainly appreciate y'all tuning in today. Make sure you keep in mind that the FM radio channel will eventually be back up again one day, right? And so keep an eye out for that. I'll walk us out of here with a little prayer to above and below, all right? Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous, universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies are distinctly divided. Our bodily caves are brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the three Dantian bridge points leading to immortality. We invoke with great sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and lengthen our healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king, Mo Wang, is chained to stand as our guard and servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The Qi of Tao is everlasting. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. I will see y'all good-looking sexy people in the abodes of the future, as above, so below, and keep doing good magic. Until next time, 再见 for now.